Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. We are still not finished with the August set reviews, so today we are taking a detailed look at the LEGO Technic 42234 Dodge Viper GTS-R. I have wanted to see an official LEGO Viper for a very long time. I was hoping the first one would arrive as an Icons model, perhaps based on one of the classic road cars, but here we are with the Technic GTS-R instead. As you can see, the set also features Forza Horizon 6 integration. The back of the box shows another angle of the model, a few of its functions, and a screenshot from the game. Let's open the box. The set has 805 pieces, the price is €65 or dollars, and it is already available. For local pricing and availability, please check the link in the description. Inside the box we get 6 numbered bags, 1 unnumbered bag, the Forza Horizon 6 leaflet, the sticker sheet and the manual. There is no code to redeem this time, so I assume this particular car or livery is available to everyone in the game. There is also some good news regarding the stickers. Just like with the recent Speed Champions BMW set, LEGO has paid attention to the sticker sheet used with a mostly white model. The stickers have transparent background, which should help with the white printed areas blend into the plastic much better than they would with a conventional white sticker sheet. Here is the complete parts list if you are interested. Now let's start building. We begin with the camshaft, followed by the pistons, completing the legendary V10 engine. I still wonder whether adding tiles to the tops of these piston elements is entirely down to the individual designer's preference. Some Technic engines get them, while others leave the pistons exposed. The steering rack is also installed, and apparently these relatively new dark blue axles with stop are becoming standard equipment in the latest members of the car transporter gang. The rear differential is not positioned on the same level as the driveshaft, so 2 additional 8-tooth gears are needed to transfer the rotation. Now it is time to connect the 2 main sections. At this point you can also see where the hand-of-God steering knob will eventually be positioned. After adding a few more structural pieces, the flex in the chassis disappears. We also install the steering wheel, although it remains fixed and is not connected to the steering mechanism. Here is the first sticker. As you can see, the color matching is better than it usually is with conventional white back stickers. The assembly containing the seats and the hand-of-God steering mechanism is quite interesting. At first it appears to be held in position only by the steering knob itself. Don't worry though, it is properly secured during the next few steps. We had several panel fairings around the rear. These 2 longer panels appear to be the only newly recolored elements in the entire set. The roof structure is now mostly complete. Next, we build this mixed system and Technic assembly for the front. We add more system parts during the following steps, and this also gives us a nice little sticker alignment challenge. The door is probably the most complicated subassembly of the build so far. I'm not entirely sure why this connector was used in tan when the same piece also exists in white. The rod sticking out of the door might look strange at the moment, but its purpose will become clear later. This is another interesting section. At first glance, you might assume that something here is supposed to move. There are also some clever little building tricks, such as these 1x1 round tiles being used to hold the panel fairings at the correct angle. By the end, this rear assembly feels almost as heavy as the main one. But how do the 2 halves connect? There are 2 obvious pins here, but the real trick is underneath. Those strange movable axles and pins we installed earlier can finally slide into their intended positions and lock the structure together. They will also hold these sticker transparent elements. Apparently, the transparent sticker background was not chosen only to improve the appearance of the white areas. Now it is time to build the hood. I like that the blue racing stripes are partly brick built and continue underneath the large Technic panels. The front section is not exactly small either, but that V10 engine needs somewhere to live. We finish the nose section with brick-built headlights. The narrower wheels go on the front, while the wider ones are fitted at the rear. Last but not least, we can finally solve the mystery of those rods sticking out from the doors. They hold the rearview mirrors, and with that our build is finished. So here it is, the Dodge Viper GTS-R, the latest member of the car transporter gang. It certainly looks recognizable as a Technic Viper at this scale, especially in its GTS-R racing form with the enormous rear wing. However, both the size and the Technic building system bring some obvious visual limitations. The original GTS-R race cars were primarily associated with the late 1990s and early 2000s, although those cars look somewhat different. As far as I can tell, this LEGO model is based on this later 2017 version. I am definitely not a Viper racing historian, so let me know in the comments if you can provide more details about this particular car. One thing I am missing is the iconic crosshair style grille. However, the grille visible on the reference car used for this model has been recreated fairly faithfully using stickers. The large openings in the hood are represented as well. I really like the combination of brick build and sticker detailing used for the blue racing stripes. It works well and gives the model more visual depth than a fully sticker-based solution would have. There are plenty of additional sticker details around the car, including almost everything at the rear. Unfortunately, that also includes the taillights. Once you compare the model with the reference image, you can clearly see what each of these stickers is trying to represent. I have two main issues with the appearance. The first is this large gap at the rear. On the real car, this area is covered by the rear window, but the LEGO model leaves the entire section exposed, including this rather distracting red half pin. My second issue is another gap, this time at the front. It is not particularly noticeable from every angle, but when you look at it from above, it becomes very obvious. To be fair, this gap is partly a technical necessity because the hood opens forwards. That is also one of the main functions of the model. Opening the hood reveals the V10 engine, which is driven by the rear wheels through the differential. The hand-of-God steering knob is positioned on the roof. The steering works smoothly, and as usual you can simply remove the knob when the model is on display. This one does not appear to have a dedicated storage position underneath the hood, but you can still place it there if you do not want to lose it. The doors also open, revealing a fairly simple interior with a fixed steering wheel. That is more or less standard for this category. And yes, those were all the functions. Proportionally, the model is actually quite faithful to the reference car. Naturally, we are missing the windscreen, but most of the major shapes and details are positioned where they should be. Interestingly, the blue Technic pins are not particularly distracting on a white and blue car. At least, they do not bother me very much here. There are, however, a few exposed red axles that could have been avoided very easily. The build already uses black 2-module axles in important locations, such as the ones holding the transparent panel fairings. Replacing these red pieces with black versions would therefore have been a very simple change. Beyond that, my usual complaints about this category remain unchanged. Even with all the newer panel fairings and decorative technic elements, this is still a fairly rough approximation of the real vehicle compared with what could be achieved using an Icon-style system build. And that would be completely fine if the main emphasis of these models was on functionality rather than appearance. There has clearly been steady improvement in the car transporter gang over the years. However, I'm not sure these models will ever achieve truly convincing bodywork without switching much of the exterior to system pieces and introducing proper model-specific wheels. This is an old debate though, and I do not want it to take over the entire review. These small and medium-sized licensed Technic cars could absolutely have a place in the portfolio. The problem is not that they exist, the problem is that licensed vehicles, particularly cars, now dominate the Technic theme so heavily. I would be much happier if at least half of the portfolio consisted of unlicensed models designed primarily around interesting mechanisms and functions rather than external appearance. In the current lineup, buying a Technic set often feels less like choosing what type of machine you want to build and more like choosing which size of licensed car you prefer. There are exceptions of course, but not very many. As for the building experience, this is a good, relatively quick build. There is nothing truly exceptional here, but there are several clever solutions and interesting assemblies along the way. Compared with the Ferrari 488 Pista from the same general category, I think the Ferrari offered a few more complex and memorable techniques. However, most buyers will probably choose between these models based on their preferred car or brand rather than the building experience itself. Overall, the Dodge Viper GTS-R is another solid addition to the car transporter gang. It is recognizable, the proportions are mostly accurate, the mixed brick build and stickered livery works well, and it includes all the functions we have come to expect from this category. At the same time, the large gaps, exposed pins, sticker details, and limited functionality prevent it from becoming anything more ambitious. So folks, let me know what you think about this one. Do you like this Technic version of the Viper, or would you rather have seen a classic one released as a larger LEGO Icon set? Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications, as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.